Welcome to Rom Wills Money Matters. Pay attention to all economic activity. And this is very important. And I use myself as an example. And look, I'm not saying this to brag, but to give you a perspective. Despite everything happening out here economically, people losing jobs, the economy had the biggest GDP drop since the time they've been measuring, right? And since the time they've been measuring, it was like 10 points, the gross domestic product. It's right. And I'm doing well. I'm doing well because my stuff is online anyway. My stuff was online. Most of it. The only thing I'm missing out on is vending. And, but that was never major for me. That was quite literally gas money for me. And not even gas money, like play money. So, but trust me, I'm on a pace to make more than I made last year despite everything. But here's the thing. I'm still paying attention to everything else. Because here's the thing, and this is for all business people, even if you're very happening here or one of your jobs is essential, this whole economic thing could affect you at some point. Like, for example, during this thing, I know a friend of mine, her husband he was making six figures. He was actually laid off his job. Now he's able to get something else, right? He didn't really miss anything. I'll say after a few weeks. But what if he wasn't able to because of everything? Because understand something. Even if you work for the government, you can be affected by this. Because, okay, for example, local governments, they got the government workers, they making their good money, but how do they get paid? They get paid off of local taxes. The taxes paid by businesses primarily. Property taxes, also sales tax paid. That's how they make their money. But what happens if you have a period where the local businesses go out and they not producing, they not bringing tax money? Eventually, even a government worker can get laid off. They can't afford to pay them. Or you could be a federal contractor. Depending on what you're doing, you could be affected. Everybody could be affected, even with what I'm doing, right? With what I'm doing now, I'm all right for now, but what if it get to the point people say, well, you know what, Rom, I can't really buy a book or I can't buy a video from you, And what if it get to the point they can't even, what if, now I definitely make money through AdSense on YouTube, but what happens if someone, for whatever reason, they can't afford to pay their phone bill? They seriously think. I want y'all to think about it, especially all the business people. What if they can't pay their smartphone bill and they don't have a computer? And what if they maybe have to say, you know what, I can't pay this bill, I can't afford it. Let me get like a prepaid phone, a Go phone or something, burner phone, where I can't really get on the internet. Then they can't even sit through one of my videos. They can't sit through the ads of my videos, so that ad revenue might get cut off, because that's the thing. People have to actually watch it. Or what if they so caught up in some stuff they can't watch any videos, even if they can keep their phone? So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, yeah, I'm doing well now, but as more and more people lose money, it's like, well, you know what? I can't pay the membership here. I can't pay for that Patreon. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I gotta pay for it. See, here's the thing. If you in any business, you always gotta think about customers. And if they can't pay, you can't pay. I saw a video the other day where a woman, now this has to do with the eviction thing, and I'm gonna get more into the eviction thing in a second, the bigger picture of it. But this specific woman, she was like, it was like a news clip on YouTube. I can't remember where it is now. I saw it last week, but I didn't save it. And that's one thing I do. I'll look at different news clips on YouTube. And she was saying, like, she's about to move from her house, a nice old house. The problem was she had owned a daycare center, but because of this virus and parents staying home, they need to take their kids here. So she went from a point where she said, yeah, she could pay everything. She had a nice staff, where she couldn't pay anything. Boom, that's affecting them. Or say you're a landlord, right? getting a bit more into the eviction thing. Now, first of all, it's also the mortgage thing, right? That could affect the owner. Like, say you got somebody and they ain't a big corporation. Maybe they own like a 4 unit or something, own a couple houses. What happens to them if their tenants, all the tenants they got, they can't pay the rent? They can't pay the rent. And say hypothetically, like say somebody owns like maybe 5 different units, like some houses and some small apartment buildings or something, and their tenants can't pay. You might have to evict them, right? You know, the thing is with that could affect the owner because the owner still got to pay that mortgage. But what if they can't pay that mortgages? All of a sudden, you're not only not getting that money, but you also getting, you getting a foreclosure thing. And trust me, foreclosures, evictions, they stay on your record. They make it hard, right? Now look at another thing. Let's talk about the mortgages. Think about a house. When you own a house, that affects a lot of other things. First of all, that house needs electricity and water, maybe gas, depending. You getting that from some outside source. If you get a critical mass of houses in a particular area where they're either, like say houses that going into foreclosure, houses where the owners had to evict the tenants, they not drawing in that electricity. They not drawing in that water. They ain't getting as much money. All of a sudden, the people who work for that electric company, all of a sudden, they might not need as many, or they might not can afford to pay them. You ain't bringing in money. Boom, it started hitting everything else. See, you want to pay attention to all economic activity for the simple reason. It could affect you at some point. Now, I'm monitoring stuff every single day. And like I said, I'm all right for now. And, and some people, let's just be real. Some people, just depending on what they do and how big their audience is, they'll be all right. Like for me, I'll be pretty much all right because my audience is global. And I figured it out. I'm making what I make. I can make what I make off of the solid support of a few hundred, money wise. Like, people buy my books every month and buy my videos, who support me continuously on my subscription sites, right? And I'm doing pretty well with that, But everybody ain't in that position. And even with all of that, you never know. You just never know. So you still, if you're in business or a job, you pay attention to everything and ask yourself, okay, how does this affect the big picture? I mean, you could be working in a grocery store. That's essential. But what if it's you getting some meats or something from some meat plants that haven't been able to have the same productivity because, so many of their workers had the Rona. So then, when you get the meats, they're more expensive. And then people are like, well, I can't really buy this. And if they ain't buying stuff, then they might have to really cut back on staff even at the grocery store. So everybody's affected by this. Everybody's affected. You want to pay attention to all because everything's holistic. If you look at money itself, money goes into a different, is nothing but exchange. It's a flow. It's a circle. So I want y'all to keep that in mind, okay? So anyway, just really pay attention. Well, sit down and ask yourself, okay, if you're in business, where am I getting my money from? Who are my customers? What's their demographic? How they doing money-wise? And if you can, try to get an idea where they getting their money from. Pay attention to it all. And if you want a job, always keep in mind, okay, how many people going to use it? Like, I got some very good friends. I've always mentioned I work retail. In this particular retail place, I still got friends there. I remember I went to that particular retail place, and the reason I don't say their name, I don't want to give them any advertising, but nothing against them, but it could be kind of difficult, especially with what I'm about to say. I went there and they not getting supply trucks. They used to at one point when I was there get a supplies truck twice a week. Now they get one once every 3 weeks now. And then that means that I was told that's because a lot of places they get it from, they weren't making the stuff. Now, if they ain't making the stuff there, they ain't making the material, the clothing, or whatever else it is, right? And then that's not in the stores. The store's not making as much money. That's why you got a lot of retail places. The whole retail apocalypse, that's sped up. People ain't buying stuff as much. If it's not there, you got to buy. You can only buy what's there. And at the particular retail place I'm referencing, I was told they've had a lot of cuts. They've had a lot of cuts. Some people been laid off. So this ain't a joke. So you got to pay attention to every single thing, especially in this time. All right. Keep that in mind. Normally I say, let's go make that money, but stay vigilant. That's how I'll say it. Stay vigilant. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all. Peace and blessings.
Wow.